So hopefully he's on the same page with Katie, and he's not just using sex positive to mean he's horny. Hi everyone, my name's Dimitri, and welcome back to DimitriTube. The Bachelorette. The Bachelorette, episode 5. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're enjoying my reviews, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. Now, if you're wondering why things look a little different in this video, it's because I finally invested in a camera. So if you're enjoying the new video quality, let me know below in the comments. I'm also doing an angle slightly different from what I normally do. My desk is like covered with stuff and I just didn't want to move it. And I will have an unboxing video for my new camera coming soon. And just one more thing before I get started. This is not Bachelor related, but do any of y'all watch Top Model or Dancing with the Stars? Well, I definitely met Niall DeMarco the other day a few blocks away from my house. I thought that was pretty awesome and I just wanted to share it with someone. Okay, so let's dive in and start talking about the episode. So the episode starts and Blake is moving into the house. So Tayshia meets up with the rest of the contestants and then gives this huge introduction for Blake and says there's a guy from her past, he has good intentions, him and Katie had a date and now he's moving into the house, and the whole introduction was just so extra. She did not have to do all that. Okay, so I definitely just realized my ring light is not on. This camera's quality is so good. It like looks like my ring light is on. Let me cut it on and see if there's a difference. I really hope this video turns out well. I'm still trying to learn this camera. This is with the ring light on, so hopefully it looks better. Anyways, where were we? So Blake walks into the room. It's so awkward and there's tension. Blake, for some reason, feels the need to explain himself. Now, the guys are pretty mad at Blake, but there's no reason for them to be mad. He's literally just another competitor. If anything, they should be mad at Katie for bringing him on so late. So after that, Blake gets the one-on-one and he feels the need to explain himself again to the guys. But then in a confessional, Blake says that he does not care, but clearly he does if he feels the need to explain himself to the other contestants. Production is clearly trying to force some storylines. So after Blake moves into the house, Katie asks the other guys how they feel about Blake moving in. And I thought that was so dumb. I was just like, why do you give a f***? This is your show. If you want to bring Blake on, bring him on. Like, I don't understand why the opinions of the other contestants would matter. Clearly, they would want less people to compete against. Maybe Katie just wants to be open and honest about her relationships, but if I was one of the other contestants, I would not want to know, or I just wouldn't care. Okay, now we're moving into a one-on-one all-day date with Blake. For the first part of their date, they go horseback riding. This is a date that we see all the time on this show, but it's cute. I like it. Now, nothing really interesting happens on this date that we didn't already know about. Blake and Katie do have chemistry, and Katie says that being with Blake is easy, and that's what she wants. Okay, so then we go into the dinner portion of the date, and Blake asks, what makes you so open and so sex positive? And then Katie responds with her sexual assault story. So Blake responds and says he's sex positive too, and to not be afraid. Now, this show has not clearly defined what sex positive means, so I really hope Blake and Katie are on the same page. Also, there's a difference between being sex positive and being horny, and just a heads up, Blake is known to slide into the DMs of other Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants. So hopefully he's on the same page with Katie and he's not just using sex positive to mean he's horny. After the dinner portion of the date, they move to another room and they get to see a performance by Lane Hardy. And we finally get to see Katie's outfit. So when it comes to the fashions, I will say Katie definitely stepped it up for me in this episode. This is the girliest she's looked out of all the episodes so far. Initially, I thought this was a dress, but it's actually a top with a pencil skirt. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. The top and the skirt are the same color, but the top is fabric and the skirt is like a silk material, and I just don't love it. But I will give Katie some slack. Her makeup looked really good. I liked the hoops, and her shoes were really cute. Now we're moving on to the group date, the bash ball battle. And have y'all noticed the hello thing that Katie always does? She's like, hello. Like, it's very annoying, but I'm pretty much used to it now. So the guys play a game and Wells explains it as a mix between rugby and basketball. Before the game starts, the guys are running drills and Hunter partners up with Katie and they are heavy flirting. Like, there was definitely chemistry there. So the game starts and the guys are all wearing singlets with the stomach and chest out. And I actually have a singlet like this. I wore one for Halloween in 2016. Now, just a few things I want to say about this game. One, the guys are wearing cups, so there was clearly some safety measures taken. Two, I guess the only way to take out another guy was to tackle him. I guess those were the rules. Three, they should have used flags like during flag football. Instead of tackling someone, you have to pull the flag because tackling without padding is very dangerous. One of the guys could have gotten really hurt. And lastly, there was a referee and he actually seemed to be doing his job this time. Normally when Bachelorette sets up games like this, the referee is just there for display. They're not actually doing anything. But this time he seemed to be doing some work. So the guys get a little rough, and at one point in the game, I think Justin tackles Mike A, and then they have to call the medics. Production should have expected this to happen because there's really no nice way to tackle someone, because if you don't, they won't go down. And they didn't tell us any of the rules of this game, so I guess the only way to play defense is to tackle the opposing team. So after that, they end the game and call it a day. Katie says the black team did better, but she declares everyone a winner and then says everyone will get time tonight. I thought that was pretty lame, but whatever. Also, my baby James was looking like a whole snack. He definitely deserves a slot in paradise. Now we're moving on to the night portion of the group date, and we need to talk about Katie's outfit. Katie is wearing a red dress made out of latex, and she looks like a dominatrix. I almost called her Mistress Mandy instead of her name Katie. I looked it up online. It's a Saint Laurent dress, and it is a fetish-inspired piece. Okay, so I appreciate a fashion risk, and I'm happy that Katie is taking a few more risks with her fashion. But there doesn't seem to be an overall direction or vision for her styling. Like, her outfits are kind of all over the place. Now, when you're the lead on this show, the stylist gives you options. The stylist is like, okay, you have a cocktail party tonight. Here are the options. Which one do you want to wear? And I'm just really curious at what the thought process was, because Katie chose this over the other options. And it's not a bad dress, but I just feel like it's not appropriate for a cocktail party on The Bachelor. I actually don't know where you would wear this dress. Maybe if it was like your birthday and you want to be the center of attention, or to like a fetish party, but other than that, I really don't know where you would wear this. If you know, let me know below in the comments. Okay, so first up, we get a one-on-one with Michael A. So Katie tells Michael that she got emotional when he got hit and they stopped the game because of him. And low-key, that's like a little embarrassing, but Mike is kind of geeky, dorky, so I guess he can get away with that. And then Mike responds and says yesterday he was also emotional because it was his wife's birthday. Now, I have mixed feelings about this, and please hear me out before you call me an asshole. Now, I totally get it. Mike was married for 16 years and his wife was a huge part of his life. When you're on this show, you don't have TV, you don't have social media, you don't have books. Literally, you just sit there and think all the time. So I get it. This was an important day and it was on his mind. But part of me feels like Mike should have kept this to himself. And I'm going to explain this as gingerly as I can without being offensive. This is just a huge pet peeve of mine. If I'm dating someone and we're still early on in the relationship, I hate when they mention their exes. Like, that is a huge pet peeve and it really annoys me and it makes me feel like they're possibly not over their ex. Now, I will say Mike's situation is definitely different because this is not an ex. Mike is widowed. I don't mind someone casually mentioning a previous partner, but I don't know where the line is between casually mentioning your partner and talking about them too much. I think that's something an individual person has to decide for themselves. Also, that would be a huge turnoff to me if I'm dating someone and they keep talking about their previous partner. So that is just a tricky situation. Like, I get it, he wants to be honest, but at the same time, how can you expect Katie to move forward with you if you keep talking about your previous partner? Also, I still don't think Katie is feeling Michael A that much. Sorry about that, everyone. I had to switch back to the iPhone because my camera died and I only have one battery and I don't want to wait for it to charge. I'm still very much learning the new camera. Next is Connor B. Connor B played the ukulele and sang for Katie, and I loved it. I actually thought Connor was better than the actual music guest they had for this episode. So in the back of my head, I feel like Connor B is not here for the right reasons, but I still love this performance and I ate it up. After he was done singing, he asked Katie, "Can you kiss me now?" And it was more smooth than the ways he'd done it before, but it was still corny. Next is Mike the Virgin. Quick word on him. I loved his outfit. I was actually shocked that he was wearing something so edgy. Like, I really did not get that vibe from him. So after that, they pan back to the guys, and in a confessional, Aaron says that Hunter played in the game way too aggressively. So Aaron is just so annoying to me now. He always has a problem with someone. At first it was Cody, then it was Thomas, and now it's Hunter. Aaron, maybe the problem is you, not the other guys. But he doesn't have a connection with Katie, so I think he's just starting this drama so he could stay on the show. Next, we have a one-on-one with Hunter. During the one-on-one, Hunter says he never introduced his kids to another woman, and he shows pictures of him and his kids to Katie. And Hunter tells Katie that he wants her to meet his kids. Now, I thought this was a little too soon and Hunter's possibly moving a little too quickly, but this process in general moves quickly, so maybe they are on the correct timeline. I don't know. What did y'all think? Let me know below in the comments. So they pan back to the guys and Michael A opens up to the group about being widowed. And Greg gets super emotional and starts crying. Now, if you've been watching my previous reviews, you know that I just don't think Greg is here for the right reasons, and this just did not seem genuine to me. And when he gets the one-on-one with Katie, he tells her that he's crazy about her and that he's falling in love with her, and I just don't believe it for 1 second. I think he's playing her. So Hunter ends up getting the group date rose. When Katie announced Hunter's name, Greg was pissed. Greg's face after Hunter's name was called, and the fact that Greg is just so focused on the rose just reinforced in my mind that he's not here for the right reasons. Also, it is possible that Greg did get really emotional for Michael A's story, but at the same time, I found it slightly peculiar that Greg shed more tears for that than he did when he was talking about his father's death to Katie. Again, it's possible Michael A's situation made him more emotional, or maybe Greg didn't have a good relationship with his dad, but I did find that a little peculiar. Okay, so now we're moving on to a one-on-one date with Andrew S. So did y'all like Katie's outfit? I didn't like it. It just looked a little too 2004 country singer to me. Or this is an outfit you would see on the movie Coyote Ugly. Remember that movie with Tyra Banks? Anyways, moving on. So Andrew and Katie go to the forest and they see a bunch of Christmas lights. In the tops of the Christmas lights, they pull different cards with different questions so they can get to know each other more. Now, at this point, I don't know if the budget is just super low or if there's just really nothing to do in New Mexico, but I am so tired of these super low budget dates. And at one point in the date, Andrew S says, "I want to wake up early." And Katie says, "I like to sleep late." Then we pan to a confessional and Andrew S says, "We're so alike." And that was so funny to me because I'm just like, why did production have to edit it like that? And during the date, in a confessional, Katie says she likes him and there's definitely chemistry, but I'm just not seeing it. When they're together, there's like no pressure. I feel like when she was with Blake, there's like a sense of pressure. I really don't know how else to explain this, but in the early stages of dating, I just feel like there shouldn't be zero pressure. Like there should be like a little bit of pressure there. If there's none and it's too easy, then there's probably no connection. Okay, so now we're moving on to the dinner portion of the date, and Andrew S says that his dad was locked up when he was 6, and one of the reasons he loved football so much is because he loved seeing the complete families there. And Andrew says he couldn't fathom his dad not being there for all the moments, and he vows not to be that. Andrew S also opens up about one of his previous girlfriends and how they ended up breaking up because she was white and she admitted to him that she was not comfortable having mixed children. So Katie gives a good response to this. She says she never thought about what it would mean to her to have mixed children, and she says that if the love is there, then race doesn't matter. So Katie gave a good answer, but when it comes to dating, it very much seems to me like Katie put no thought into what her future husband would look like. So if you've been watching this season, Katie said she never thought about being with a man with kids, being with someone who's widowed, and now she's never thought about being with someone of another race. And I'm just like, so Katie, what have you thought about in terms of dating? And as we get further into this season, it just gets more clear to me that Katie has no idea what she wants. And next thing I want to say about this conversation, so this is a very serious conversation, and ABC is definitely trying to include more of the tougher conversations on this show. And that's fine, but when I was watching the episode last night, I literally realized this is the first time that race was even mentioned. During Matt James's season, I swear I had to talk about race every episode, and it was very annoying. Y'all, I do not watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette to discuss race relations in America. I don't. And I'm so glad that during Katie's season, we're back to like the original form of The Bachelor, and it's not just nonstop tough conversations. I watch this for the outfits, the fairy tale fantasy, and a little bit of drama. Like, I'm reviewing these episodes for y'all, and I do not mind discussing race if it's relevant to the show, but it's just wild to me how last season, like 80% of the time I was unpacking race, and now this season, unpacking race is like non-existent. Okay, so now we're moving on to the cocktail party, and I gotta talk about Katie's dress. So in this episode, I'm really happy that Katie is dressing more girly and we're getting a variety of outfits, but I do not like this dress on Katie. This dress to me is just not very flattering for Katie's shape. I think this dress is meant more for like a curvier girl, not really for Katie's body type. Also, I really thought Katie needed like a necklace or a bracelet or some kind of accessory. We just need to jazz it up a little bit. So the first one-on-one we have is with Justin. They play this like card game and Justin explains it, but like, I really don't get it. Also, I rewatched it and I still don't get it. Next, we have a one-on-one with Hunter. Hunter takes Katie to look through a telescope, and while they're doing that, Aaron and James are mad because Hunter is taking time after he already has a rose. I thought it was dumb that Aaron and James are mad because clearly Hunter is fighting for time. Like, when there are this many guys in the house, you have to fight for your time. So during Hunter's one-on-one with Katie, James tries to interrupt and steal her away, and Hunter says no, he wants more time. Now, I will say, I do think Hunter should have allowed James to interrupt because that would just make Hunter appear more confident in his relationship. By not letting James interrupt when he had a rose, it did make Hunter look a little insecure. After a few more minutes, Hunter lets James steal Katie away. It's clear Hunter is getting the villain edit. I don't think Hunter is actually a villain. I just think it's the way they're editing. Next, we have a one-on-one with my baby James. Ugh. James is so hot. But when he was kissing Katie, it was so gross. And like, it sounded like the mic was on top of them kissing, and it grossed me out a little bit. So then after that, Hunter confronts James, Trey, and Aaron, and James, Aaron, and Trey all agree that the guys with roses should take a step back and give the guys who don't have roses more time. So I completely disagree with that, and I'm definitely on Team Hunter because Hunter got the rose from a group date. He didn't get it from a one-on-one all-day date. It's not like he had a ton of time with Katie. He just shined with the 15 minutes he did have. Now, if you do have a one-on-one all-day date with Katie, I do feel like you should probably take a step back and give the other guys a chance, but Hunter didn't get that. Also, it seems like James, Trey, and Aaron are all not here for the right reasons. They are only focused on getting roses and getting time. They're not actually focused on getting to know Katie. Also, sidebar, Brendan needs a haircut, and he needs a haircut bad. So for the rose ceremony, nothing really happened. Yep, and before we go, I gotta give you this week's outfit of the episode. For this week, I'm giving it to Caitlin Bristow. Caitlin is wearing this really cute blue pantsuit during the rose ceremony. It's a really pretty shade of blue. I don't even really like the color blue that much, but this pantsuit really looks good. The top is cut very low, but she gives us a necklace. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to the fashions, Katie definitely stepped it up this episode, but Caitlin outshined her. It is what it is. And that is the end of the episode and all I have for you. If you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.